Hello everyone, I am Pinky Narang, working as a TGT Social Science in Technia International School. Today, I am going to deliver a lecture on a topic money and credit. So to begin with, I'll first introduce with the term barter system. This system was used before the advent of money. People used to exchange one thing for another in this system. But there were various drawbacks of barter system. The double coincidence of want is the major drawback of the barter system. It can be very difficult to find a person who can fulfill this condition. Suppose you want to barter your MP3 player with a microwave, then you need to find a person who wants to barter his microwave for an MP3 player. Now, I will tell you about money. Money is a means by which we can get something in exchange. Initially, coins came into use. The coins were initially made of precious metal like gold and silver. When the precious metals become too precious, ordinary metals were being used for making coins. Paper money or currency notes gradually took place of coins. Although coins of smaller denomination are still in use, the currency notes and coins are issued by a body authorized by the government. In India, RBI, that is Reserve Bank of India, issues currency notes. Now let's talk about other form of money. In this, first is deposit with bank. Most of the people need only some money for their daily needs. Rest of the amount can be kept with themselves or can be deposited in banks. Money which is kept in a bank is safe and it even can be used on an interest. One can withdraw money from their account as and whenever required. Moreover, one can also get a demand draft made from a bank or issue a check to make payments. Now second is credit. Banks keep a small proportion of their deposit, a cash, with themselves. This is usually 15% of the deposit as cash. This amount is kept as provision to pay the depositor who may come to withdraw the money on any day. This amount is enough because only a small fraction of people come to withdraw money on a given day. The rest of the amount is used by the banks to give money on credit to people who need the credit. A bank charges interest on the loan which it gives to its creditor. The interest rate charged by a bank on loan is higher than the interest rate given by it on a depositor. Thus, interest is the main source of income for banks. Third is credit or debit cards. Nowadays, credit and debit cards are in fame. A debit card allows you to make payments from the amount which is lying in your bank account. A credit card, on the other hand, provides money on credit. Payment through credit debit card is done electronically and it removes the need of carrying cash. Now I will tell you about terms of credit. People often need to borrow money for various purposes. Many businessmen need to borrow to buy raw material and machineries. Farmers need to borrow to buy seeds, fertilizers, farm equipment, etc. People usually buy vehicles and houses by borrowing from banks. Thus, credit plays an important role in the economy. Every loan given by a bank is bounded by an agreement which specifies terms and conditions, required the rate of interest, tenure of repayment, etc. In most of the cases, the banks fix an EMI for repayment of loan. Thus, sometimes collateral is also needed to get loan from bank. Collateral is an asset which is owned by the borrower and is used as a guarantee to a lender until the loan is repaid. Land, house, vehicle, deposit with banks, insurance policy, gold, etc. are examples of assets and can be used as collateral. If the borrower fails to repay the loan, the lender reserves the right to sell the collateral to recover its money. Now the next is sources of credit. First is formal sector. The formal sector comprises of banks and cooperative societies. And the next is informal sector. The informal sector consists of private money lenders, friends, relatives, merchants and landlords. While the formal sector is bounded by the rules and regulations of the RBI and charge the prevalent rate of interest as per the RBI guidelines. The informal lenders are not bound by such rules. The informal lenders usually charge a very high rate of interest. A higher cost or a borrower is often usually results as a debt trap for the borrower. The borrower is seldom able to escape the never-ending cycle of loan repayment. Many people are too poor to qualify the requirements of credit worthiness of banks and cooperatives. There are many others who may not have enough documents like identity proof or income proof, etc. Such people are usually act as a mercy of informal lenders. And last but not the least is about self-help groups. Self-help groups is a recent phenomena. A self-help group is comprised of small number of people like 15 to 20 members. The members pool their saving. The collection is then utilized to lend small amounts of money which may be required by any of the member. The group charges interest on the loan. The arrangement of loans through self-help groups is also known as microfinance because the small amount of loan is involved. It was started by the Grameen Bank of Bangladesh. The founder of Grameen Bank, Mohammad Yunus, was confirmed with Nobel Prize in 2006 for his efforts at improving lot of the poor people. Self-help groups have helped immensely in reducing the influence of informal lenders in rural areas. Many big corporative houses are also promoting self-help groups at many places in India. That's all for today. Hope you all understood the topic. Thank you very much.